Diane, you and I have
There's
to,
John.
no, the good,
What's that, Lauri?
we have to keep up the other gender here.
Oh, yeah. Oh my gosh.
No.
I remember when I first started coming to Astronomy Cafe, I was the only lady in the group, and that, you know, it was, yeah, I'm here for the astronomy guys. But, yeah.
Mm.
It is an issue.
Oh, there's Mark.
But it was great. I mean, it was such a good, yeah, my first year.
Hey, Margie.
Hi. I have a question. I want to know how to give myself a background.
Yeah, I can show that to you while we're waiting for this meeting to
Lovely.
start if you want.
I've tried, but I'm not successful.
Let's see if I can do a screen share of. So you
Margie,
do a screen, you do it. Let's see now. I'll just do the desktop because it's easier that way. So you need to have your app, your Zoom app. And in my case, I'm using a Mac, but a PC would be very similar. You go up to the menu at the top of the screen, and you go to Preferences. Can you see that okay?
Okay.
And then
It's
you
actually
go
quite
to,
different. It's different on the PC. What are you using,
I have a
Margie?
Mac. I have a Mac.
all right, I'm using a Mac.
Okay, then this
So
is the
then
right
you go,
answer.
then you go to virtual backgrounds, and you'll see there's
Settings. So
these
set
ones here
where
are the deep. These
where-
ones are the default.
oh, that would be helpful. Okay. Where are settings on my Mac?
You go up to the zoom.us at the top of the screen.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Settings, virtual backgrounds. And then this is where it gets a little obscure because it gives you a few default ones, but if you want to add your own, which is sort of the main point, you have to hit this little add image or video thingy,
Okay.
and then add an image or add a video. I would recommend you stick with images.
Yep.
The videos seem to be too distracting for people.
Does one need a green screen or not?
No, you don't. It seems to be smart enough to figure out the depth of focus and works accordingly. You may notice in mine, for example, it picks up my headrest
Yes.
as part of me because it's close enough, I guess, as far as focus is
Oh, that's
concerned. But other than that, the rest of the room is gone. So that's
Yes.
the general idea.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yep.
And so this is on the RASC. It is on, I find that on the RASC website. No, I find it on Zoom website. I find it on Zoom.
Yeah, the Zoom application. So Zoom app, zoom.us app.
Zoom.us app. Okay. Thank you.
Now, the thing it's running right now because, of course, we can see you. So if you look down the bottom of your screen, you'll see a little blue camera icon. That's Zoom on your taskbar over on the
Yes.
right-hand side. Yeah,
Yes.
you can click on that to select
Choose-
it if you want to change your
choose-
preferences.
Choose virtual background.
Yeah, yeah.
And I
Sorry,
have
John.
none. I have none when I
Okay.
get there.
We're just a few more people showing up. We'll start in a couple of minutes.
Okay.
Hello. What?
Well, maybe we can get started. What I'm going to suggest is that we have a little bit of a show and tell at the beginning. I know that Randy has something, Remi has something, and I have something. Anybody else have something they want to show at the beginning?
No, just
Okay.
eager to see.
And anybody else? And then, just so you know the order of things, because I'm doing this for a while.
Well, you gotta
Nelson is
prepare
going
us.
to talk
What was
for
that?
us.
Something prepared.
And then
That's
we're going to have a
Dorothy.
session on comets. And then we'll have the announcements at the end, and that involves Lauri and Reg. I don't know if anybody else has announcements that they want to make, but you can always let me know if you've got more stuff. So why don't we start off? Let's start off with Randy, because he was the first one I heard that had something he wanted to show. You go ahead, Randy, and
Okay.
set the screen or whatever you want to do. He's going to show us a picture, and guess what it's going to be of?
Well, it's a sketch of the moon, but this was a couple of nights ago on the 25th. And what I was really keen on was this capella and the Valles capella, which is just this string of craters. Here's the Mare Nectaris and the this wonderful triplet, Theophilus, Cyrillus, and Caterina, just to give you an idea where we are. Tranquility was over here. And as I'm drawing away, so this is maybe not even half an hour, I see this dot moving across, slowly moving across the screen. I think it was a bit bigger, a bit smaller than this. It took me a while to realize it was moving at a very regular rate, and it looked perfectly circular. I could not see any shape to it. But I figured that was a dark satellite. I figured this was a satellite that wasn't in the sunshine. And so as opposed to when you usually see the dot moving across the sky, this one was one that was closer to the Earth, in the Earth's shadow, and it was eclipsing the sun. And I don't think I've ever seen that before, at least not knowingly. And it took about 20 seconds to traverse the shy of a quarter moon. Anyway, it was just something new for me, and I was really quite pleased.
That's very neat. I've never seen anything quite like that, but that's interesting.
Yeah, I'm amazed that you caught it with it only taking 20 seconds or so. And so much going on the moon.
Well, you know, you notice when something's moving. The eye
Yeah.
is really good at that.
Yeah.
Randy, have you reached out to ask anybody?
Oh, there's so many satellites. I don't think, you know, I have the time and I know the location, but, you know, I don't think I would spend my time on that one.
No, I was thinking more of, like, is that what you're pretty sure that it is?
Oh, does anybody have another hypothesis? The one thing that was weird is it looked perfectly circular.
Interesting. I think that's what it is. I think you're right about what it is. But
And I just think that I didn't have the angular resolution to see any shape.
Mhm.
Okay, well, Remi is next. You want to show us something, Remi?
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. This is the first time I've shared screen with this.
Okay.
So,
Click on the share screen below.
okay.
And then you should be able to pick the thing on your desktop that you want to show. And then press the button on the lower right that says share screen.
Okay. Is anybody seeing anything?
Not yet.
Okay. I think I've done something wrong. Okay. There we go.
Yay.
Yay.
Okay, this was top of Mount Doug back July 11th. And I borrowed my brother's DSLR, and I was sort of learning how to use it while taking pictures. But it worked out reasonably well. This is looking pretty much due north, so there's Cordova Bay. And
Remi, we can't see the big image where all we're seeing are the thumbnails.
Oh,
So you'll have to unshare and reshare your viewer.
okay. So stop share.
Yeah.
Okay.
The image is big now. You'll be able to see it when you share now.
Okay.
You have to pick what you're sharing from that. There's a choice there. So probably your screen, I think it is probably the best one.
Okay.
No, no, it's still small. You have to make it big before you share.
Okay.
So stop the share and try it again. Make it big on your desktop first.
Okay. Now this is big on my desktop.
Okay. Now you should be able to share the screen and get it.
Oh dear.
And make sure it says share screen, not share some map or anything specific.
Yeah, okay, well, there is a share there, but it's not going to be the right one.
I don't think you've shared the screen yet, Remi.
Now click on the larger
Remi, you have a
image
number
of
of
the
choices.
comet.
Remi, you have a number of choices as well in the dialog box. Make sure you're picking the one with the largest picture.
Does that do anything?
Hey.
Good.
Okay. So you've got the comet now?
Yes.
Yes.
Great. Okay, so this is from Mount Doug and looking north over Cordova Bay. And that was ISO around 2000. And so I played with some alternatives and okay. Now I had this in a folder so I could just move from one to the next, but
We're not seeing the photos.
Click on the see all folders, all photos.
see all photos. Okay, well, that'll bring up everything. That's not so.
Even that.
I think we'll just do that directory.
Okay, do you see anything now?
No.
Okay. I'm not sure why this isn't working. It's I put it all in the folder, and that's probably why it's having trouble finding it.
What type of computer are you using?
Oh, it's a PC. And it's my wife's PC, so I'm not that used to it. Okay, this might work. Now do you see anything?
No.
Okay, I pulled it out of the folder and it's still not showing it to you. Okay.
Remi, just reshare your screen.
Okay.
Stop your share and then reshare.
We've got one now. We're seeing a picture.
Okay.
So Remi, can you use your cursor keys and just flip through the pictures? Just use your cursor keys.
Okay, well, I don't think that's going to work.
Oh, they're not changing?
No, I used to have a little arrow that I could click on and it would flip through, but it doesn't appear right now. Anyway, you're seeing another comet picture now, just similar to the last one, but brighter? Or
Lots
no?
of stars.
Yes.
Okay, well, this is ISO 16,000. I basically just boosted it up as high as it would go to see if I would get any new detail on the comet, and not so much the comet, but it did make for a more dramatic shot.
The tail is about twice as long as what I could see from my balcony in Esquimalt, which doesn't have a great deal of light, not all of Victoria behind it, but this is wonderfully more powerful.
Yeah, it was obviously as the night got darker, it got more and more obvious, and as your eyes adapted to it, you began to see the extent of the tail. And
You said this was July 11.
Yeah, I believe so. And the thing is that you know, as you were looking at it, you would dark adapt, and you'd be able to see a few of the colors, the green on the head. One thing I noticed that was fairly consistent was the ion tail. I couldn't actually see it as a distinct tail, but I could see the gap between the dust tail and the ion tail. So there was a kind of clear wedge between them. But the ion tail itself wasn't very distinct.
Nice.
Okay, gonna have to stop sharing and pull up another one. I'll just try one more quick. Now, are you seeing anything? No, I stopped share, so you won't, but that's too bad because I can flip through now. Of course. So I've got this set up in a folder that just didn't work. And one more quick one.
Oh, lovely.
Well, this one was the 18th, and so by then it was in Ursa Major. And what was interesting was that the color, it's unfortunately poorly focused, but the color was much more obviously green. And
nice.
I just expanded it, and that just killed it.
We're just getting a white image.
Yeah, me too. I'm not sure why. I just anyway, I think those were some of the highlights. So I'll stop there. Sorry about the technical difficulties. I'm going to have to learn this a bit better. So I'll stop there.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Remi.
Remi.
Excellent.
Thanks, Remi.
Thank you.
Okay, David, you want to go next?
Turn your audio on, David.
Can you see the Zenfolio?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. No, hopefully this will work.
Yeah, we can see that.
Yeah, so last week I had some fun kind of chasing crescent moons. Actually, I was hoping to have this appear in the learning module I was creating at the time, but I didn't have enough time to put it in. But I actually had been sort of, my mind had been inundated with the phases of the moon. So I knew that on either side of new moon, there would be these thin crescents. So I managed to pick this one up. This was on one of my comet hunting adventures. So this was just a chance thing. I remember talking to Reg on the phone and saying, I got to go because I see this thin crescent moon over the hill. So I did try to catch this. This is a 1.5 day moon. So I think this is one of the thinnest that I've found. It's really hard to see any earth shine on it, but it's so close to the sun setting that you don't see it, but you do see the thin crescent. And then I returned the next day for this, I guess, 2.5 day old crescent. And this one I was able to achieve some level of earth shine in it. So this is one of my favorite, actually. I think this is one of the best earth shine ones I've done to date.
Very pretty.
Yeah.
Very
You
pretty.
also see the Mare Crisium putting these two horns in, way into the dark part.
Yes. Yes.
So at about, 2:30 or so, you see those two little horns. That's the rim around the Mare Crisium. Beautiful.
Yeah, I know, like since I've been sort of focusing on the moon for this learning module, I've been looking at the immense variety of lunar observing and imaging, actually. I can see why you're fascinated by it, Randy. It's just, it is fascinating day by day, day by day.
That Crisium is incredible. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that is really something, the shadow.
Yeah.
Don't know.
Yeah, it's quite neat. I've often wanted to do close-ups, and I probably will when I get some time, of some of these specific kind of dramatic lighting situations, but there's many for sure. There's many. And then a couple of days later, I managed to go to Milky, and I know Brenda wanted to take some pictures of the comet, so we weren't really that successful. Like the comet had kind of gone into kind of a filmy mess, so it was there, but it wasn't very dramatic like the previous week. But we looked the opposite direction. We were facing north, and then we faced south, because I remember mentioning to Brenda, oh, look, there's Jupiter and Saturn. And then I looked down a ways, and I thought, well, I wonder what that would look like. And I took a really quick image at ISO 6400, and I was just flabbergasted by the Milky Way. And this is not as good as it gets either. This is just, you could see it. But I think what I was totally amazed by was M6 and M7. These are things that I don't normally see here in Victoria because they're very low to the horizon line. And I do remember seeing these a number of years ago when I used to go look for the teapot and had views where I could actually see it. But I was just totally floored by M7 and M6. And I think on my original note, I said that the lagoon was a Trifid, but I corrected that today. It was indeed the Lagoon Nebula, not the Trifid.
We have some things to thank COVID for, I guess.
Yeah, but the other thing I noticed was Scorpius as well, very distinctive. And of course, as I say, Jupiter and Saturn. So again, one of my kind of favorite, it's not technically a perfect photo, but I like it as a memory jog. Anyways,
David, I think there is, just to the left of the pole, there's a little clearing in the trees and there's two stars. I think that is the stinger of the scorpion.
I think you're right.
Yeah, because they don't get more than a few degrees above the horizon. And the pretty blue star, the brighter one, is called Shala. And it really is lovely. Yeah. We can just see it.
Yeah, it's really hard to get the right elevation around here to see them in their entirety. They tend to be kind of clipped at the horizon line. But yeah, you're right. When you see the full constellation, you see the full effect.
Yeah, big.
Yeah, I'm meaning to go back. I'm going to go back. Brenda told me there's another site close by, I think like a school or something, which wouldn't have all the power lines and stuff. Probably going to go back.
We're unmuted.
Anyways, thank you.
Thanks, David.
Thank you, David.
David, can I make a comment?
Message from Darren
Miles.
saying,
Yeah, just for your information, everyone, M7 is the most southern of all the Messier objects, farther south.
Right.
Okay.
So if we see it from here, it's good.
Which I was surprised when I learned that. I thought it would be M75 or something.
Yeah, they're very pretty.
Okay, I got a message from Derek saying that he would like to tell us something about a observing session that he just did. Go ahead, Derek.
Hello. Well, this is my first time addressing you guys. And I've been in the society for, a year and coming up to 2 years. And I've never actually done any observing other than going outside and looking up. But partly as a result of the Explore the Universe targets, and even more so the Comet. I just tried to actually do some real observing over the last week. So it started with a trip up to Anderson Hill with a pair of binoculars and a spotting scope, a 20 magnification spotting scope that I found basically in the house that I didn't even know that Elizabeth had. So we were able to find the comet. Elizabeth got a picture of it on her iPhone. So that's where it starts. So these are what I call Derek's baby steps in observing. You know, I'm old enough to have baby steps. But a few nights ago, I went out with that spotting scope, and I tried to have a really good look at a few things besides the comet. So for the first time, I actually was able to split out, what was it, Azar and Alcor and Mizar. I saw the moons of Jupiter as very, very little dots in the spotting scope, and I could actually make out a disk in Saturn. So those were the first times I'd ever been able to do that, even though I've been looking up at the stars without equipment for decades. So I told my friend this, and he said, "Oh, well, I've got a telescope you can use." So 2 nights ago, actually it was last night, I got this telescope. It is a 4.5-inch reflector, 900 millimeters. So there it is. The brand is TOWA, T-O-W-A. Never heard of it, but I think it's sort of, similar equipment to other brands. The tube was not on the tripod, so I just about understood the instructions and got the tube on. I spent a long time lining up the sighting scope, but the bottom line is, the good news is that I got this thing out in the backyard, and I saw some brilliant, close-ups of the moon, especially focused on the terminator, and the moons of Jupiter, very clear, 3 on one side, 1 on the other. I can't remember what the names, but I looked at them in Stellarium to confirm it. And I could see the rings of Jupiter, the rings of Saturn, actually see the gap. I used there was a 20 millimeter eyepiece, and that was great. But I did actually get a 6 millimeter eyepiece to be able to see those planets, which was pretty amazing, and got the entire moon in the mirror as well. So I could not find the comet with that last night. Just too dark, and the sighting scope, I couldn't even find it through the sighting scope, let alone line it up with the telescope. So I'm feeling quite pleased with myself that I've seen some things, not quite up to your caliber, but yeah. I don't know about this telescope. I don't know that it's put together right. I don't know how to use the various axes very well. And certainly I don't know how to balance the telescope with the weight so that I basically don't have to manipulate it with one arm around to try and sight it up. So I've got a lot to learn just by checking out this telescope, but I wish I had some photos to say that I prove that I've done it, but I don't. But anyway, that's my story of my week. I actually looking at the sky and seeing things that I've never seen before. That's it.
Thank you, Derek. That's actually quite interesting. You're certainly reminding me of what it was like, getting out early on and trying to figure out how to do things.
All right.
Company is That's really nice, really good.
You should bring when the Monday evenings get together again, you should bring the telescope to one of the Monday evening get-togethers, and there will be all kinds of mechanics who can help you.
I have had the same thought.
Okay.
If there are any such things as tutorials online for using the equatorial mount and the weight and those sorts of things for this type of telescope, if there is anything, please point me to them. Not now.
Lots of very good YouTubes.
Yeah.
So, John.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. There's one more thing. I want to just show something quickly, and then we'll get to Nelson. So I'm going to do a share screen here. At least I'm going to try.
Ah.
Can you see that?
Nice.
You should be seeing Jupiter. Have you seen that?
We are.
Okay, so let me just flip through. I think some of you know that I got a new telescope, and I got 3 pictures last night. They're not great, but they're not bad, and they've convinced me that this telescope is going to work pretty well for planets. This was the first one. It was the seeing wasn't the greatest. Then the seeing improved a little bit, and then it got a whole lot worse. Anyway, that was my first.
Another single frame?
Pardon me?
There's single frame? There's no stacking?
Yeah, so I should explain that. This is an 8-inch telescope. I have on it a 2.5 times Barlow. So it becomes an F25 instrument. And then I put my small video camera on it, and I took 1,000 frames for each one of those.
Okay.
20% of them stacking to get these pictures. They're not too bad, as you can see. This is the best one. And I hope to do very much better, but this was the first go.
First light.
So I'll unshare that. And
you did very well, John.
Nelson for the next, Nelson's going to do his talk now. So go ahead, Nelson.
Thank you. In the most recent journal of the RASC, there was an article about somebody having completed the Herschel 400 observing project. And I read that with great interest, and I admire anybody with the tenacity, including myself, to complete that exercise. The list itself, the Herschel 400 list, is found in the Astronomical Society it's in the States. I've forgotten the name of it. That puts together lists of things to observe, and then to people that complete the observations, they get some kind of a medallion or a pin, something like that, and a certificate. And the gentleman in our journal here had completed had recently completed the project, and I too had completed it many years ago. I had finished it, and I was going to show it exactly, or not exactly, but show in some part how one would go about doing this, because it includes, to complete the project requires you to observe 400 objects. This gentleman who I shared in common, or shared this with, had done it, had taken each of us about the same length of time, which is 6 years. I'm an inveterate note taker of my observing. I try and make sketches of most things that I observe.
Yeah.
These are my observations of the Herschel 400 Club. It's in 2 volumes, and what I thought I would do, other than put you to sleep with all of that, is I picked a couple of kind of the principal aspects of trying to do this project. For example, the gentleman on our journal listed the telescopes that he had used to do it. And I've done that as well. But I've done mine backwards. I used a CG11, a TV101, 2 Dobbs, one a 15-inch and one an 8-inch, and 3 sets of binoculars, 20 by 60s, 10 by 42s, and 8 by 56s. He listed the number of places that he had gone to do this. I did the same thing. He had gone to 8 observing sites, and I've gone to about 20, including Mount Cobo, my own backyard, the Rascal star parties, Machosin star parties, the BCO, Cattle Point, Bright Angel, which is in Duncan, the Merritt Star Party, Otter Point, and I had gone to the Golden State Star Party, which is in Aden, California, and today I got and he had used putting this together, he had used a program, a computer program called Sky Safari to plan and track these objects. And I had simply based mine on the NGC catalog. So what do these things look like? And this is again, backwards. I put together an observing log. There's 400 of these objects, 10 on a page. So I had 40 pages that looked like this, which you can't read. But for example, object 129, I observed it over 2 years. I had a 15-inch Dob looking at Cassiopeia in September of 2009, that sort of thing. But I, someplace along the line, developed a philosophy to the effect that if I hadn't drawn it, I hadn't seen it. So that generates a bunch of things like this, which are a place for drawing the object, writing comments about the object, when, where, that sort of thing. So these books that I put together are simply the 400 pages of things like this that give you the 400. I thought that the best thing that I came up with the whole time, though, was this. When one sends these things to the Astronomical League to get their okay and a certificate, which is that one I showed you, you correspond with the people at the Astronomical League that are responsible for reviewing these logbooks that people send to get these certificates. And I'd like to read something that will be of interest to some of you, perhaps not all, but just your logbooks. why Dave checks all the observations that come in. I just keep track of the awardees and their pins. I have to forward your email to him. He usually has his own way of checking. This is the best part, and a few of you, this will be meaningful to a few of you. I wanted to let you know, as a FYI, Dave, that's her husband, my son Lyle and I visited your beautiful Victoria back in 1991 and loved it. We know Jack Newton, who resided in that area at that time, and got to visit him at his observatory. What a thrill. He submitted photos for us to use in the Herschel observing book. Dave has a few drawings we used as well when he was still in the UK. We also visited that year Mount Cobo. With the cows moving faster than us. We were invited to attend the star party that year and had our first look at the Northern Lights and got a number of great Perseid meteors as well by a dear friend who has since departed since then. Father Lucian Kemble of Alberta. We met through the Herschel program. He also helped with updating and correcting some of our old observations concerning the Herschel 400. Dave and I visited Death Valley a few years back and were miles from anywhere to enjoy the glorious dark skies. The part of that I thought might ring a bell with some of you is the part about Jack Newton and his observatory. So other than going through all of the sites that I've seen these things from, which that's all I had.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Nelson. It must have been immense work to do all that.
It's a small world in the astronomy community across the border, isn't it?
Yeah.
Can't hear you.
Oh, that was quite surprising to get that letter. I had quite a correspondence with her.
Nelson, is that Father Lucian the same person as the Kemble Cascade? That feature?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Did you meet him at Cobo?
Hmm.
Oh.
Did they hear me?
I don't know.
We can hear.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
You heard me?
Sorry, Nelson, what's next for you?
Next?
Yes.
I am almost finished with what they call the Advanced Multiple Star Award, which would be 100 hard to find double stars, and I'm about 2/3 of the way through that.
Good for you.
Nelson, you should try the Galaxy Groups and Clusters program.
That sounds difficult.
You've seen a number of them already.
Yeah, this is sort of in the neck of the woods where Miles and Dorothy have gone.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What's that?
Oh, I was just saying that I know that Miles and Dorothy had visited the desert in California.
Sorry, say that again, Nelson.
I said, I believe you had visited the desert in California.
Yes, we have. I'll turn up our volume.
Yeah, Nelson, I'm having a hard time hearing. Say it once more time.
He knows we visited
Oh.
the desert in California.
Oh, yeah. So can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, we can hear you, Miles.
Okay, I have a historical item if you have a few minutes to hear it.
Go ahead.
Dorothy and I are trying to get rid of some of our piles of astronomy sky and telescope magazines from previous years and clear them out. And I was going through one from 2014, had a little item about the Bootids meteor shower that's in June. Have you ever heard of them? Probably not. It's not a prominent shower at all, but there was an outburst in 1927, and then there was another one in 1998, and then 2006. And so I thought, well, that's interesting because I think I saw that. And I went back through my observing notes to 1998 June. The 27th is the peak. And sure enough, I was down in the White Mountains in East Central California. I was by myself, very, very dark site at 7,000 feet. And the Forest Service ranger came by that day and he was talking to me, and he told me his son was interested in astronomy, and his wife also worked in the Forest Service office in Bishop. So I said, well, bring him up tonight and I'll show you some stuff through the telescope. And so he did. His son was 9 years old, little Jim. And so I was showing him deep sky objects for about an hour and a half. And we were seeing a lot of meteors, very unusual number of meteors. And so I didn't know anything about the June Bootids at that time. It's not a prominent shower. So when I got home, I discovered, yeah, sure enough, there's a shower called the Bootids in June. And so it was just pure luck that I happened to be there that night and see it and show these others, meteor showers. So I was kind of reliving that night. I'm not doing much observing now, but I was going back vicariously and through my notes and reliving those times. It was kind of nice.
That's another interesting thing actually about Bootids. There's a second, they're now called, what is it, the Quadrantids in January, minor ones, but they actually have emerged from Bootids. So they're actually two Bootids, minor, but January and June. It's curious.
That's all.
That's neat stuff. I'm always so impressed with you guys that do the observing without a camera. It must be a dedicated kind of life that you have.
It's the real thing, John. You want those photons got to hit your retina.
It's just beyond my capability, I think.
Yeah,
anyway,
but the photons from the screen are getting to my eyes, so it's nice to go out and
that's true.
Look up.
Anyway, thank you very much, Nelson, for reminding us that there are things to do with your eyes as well as cameras. So what I'd like to do next is we're going to have a little session on comets from the past. That is not the current comet, but ones from earlier days. And I wonder if Joe Carr would introduce it for me. Go ahead, Joe.
Okay, I have to admit that when John and Reg sort of threw this at me and I said yes, I was thinking, oh, well, this is a pretty easy job. But as it turns out, we have, as a group, observed a lot of comets over the years. And so I would just, I'm going to sort of share the list and bop around a little bit just to give you a taste of them. But by all means, go to the website and explore on your own, you just need to find Astronomy Cafe and the July 27th webpage, which I'll show you right now. I'll just do a share. So this is the current page, and you can see this is the list I put together of historical comets. So it's in more or less reverse chronological order. And this beautiful picture here actually is a slide from the Carpenter and Wesley slides, which are very, very old slides, hand colored, and use a funky old projector to actually see them. One of our members digitized them. So it's online if you want to explore it all. But one of them was the comets, and the old comets, as you can see, there's lots of interesting facts about all these comets, including Halley's twice over. These two here are Halley's comet. So have a look in there and see what you think. Let's go back here. Anyway, let's start at the top. And I'm going to skip through some of them because we're burning up time here, but I'll try and keep it to about 10 minutes if I possibly can. I think Sherry Butnor, without a doubt, along with maybe quite possibly Bill Weir, have observed comets over the longest period of time that I know of any members in Victoria Centre. Sherry has done a lot of work with film. So if you want to see Lovejoy at its best, there you go. It was 2015, which was a digital one, but you can go back and look at some of her previous shots and see. In fact, since I'm here in her gallery, I'll show you NEOWISE, which is, she did a great job of that one. And NEOWISE with a little more context around it. Back to the list. 2013, there's observing highlights is part of our website, as it turns out. Sandy Barta and I worked on observing highlights for quite a while. As you can see, this whole section here is all done by us. And what we basically did was we just screen scraped off emails what people were observing, because at that point we were using our email list a lot more to inform each other of what we were up to. So we were trying to save it, and we did a pretty good job for a while there. It was a lot of work. Anyway, 2013 was obviously a big year for comets, as you can see. Ison, Linear, Nevisky, Enkin were all, Pan-STARRS was all observed, these particular ones. Now, obviously, there's many Pan-STARRS and Linears, but if you go to that particular page, you'll see our funky old website is still preserved and ready to go. And if I do a find, oh, there's Comet Ison right now. You can see Charles and Diane Bell and a few others were all observing this, lots of details. Bill Weir was, of course, cheering us on the whole time. And I think this is Charles Banville's shot of Comet Ison. And you can go down here. I'm not going to go through all these because we are a little short of time. But oops, that's a broken link. You do encounter that once in a while on their old website. Comet Pan-STARRS in 2013 was also shot by John McDonald in Rodeo. And he certainly picked up some beautiful shots. And he's he actually has a whole gallery online of his comet shots, which he's probably going to talk about in a minute or two. So
That's beautiful.
yeah, they are just amazing. Yeah. Some of the creative things you can do with photography. So that's just 1 year. Bill Weir was in Ukiah, California, and pulled in a report as well, filed a report with us. Managed to get away from the coast and the fog and all that stuff. So you can read all the details in there if you want to. I had forgotten completely about this one here, this Hergenrother. Garrett I remembered, but I hadn't remembered Herzenrogger. What a name. Let's go down here to Herzenrogger, yes. So, kind of interesting. A little bit of a time lapse. For those of you who are new to comet observing, just maybe I should just state the obvious. Comets are in the sky all the time, but they are very faint fuzzies most of the time. I mean, our current comet really wowed everybody, but all I'm suggesting is go and have a look for the other comets, but don't expect to be wowed because they are not big and bright and beautiful like the one we just experienced. Garrett was also observed in 2011, and so I'll just do a find to find it. Some of these pages are pretty big. There we go. So there's a comet that John took and managed to get some nice context with a cluster by M15. And I'm just going to bop down the list a little bit here. Mackholtz was certainly a biggie. Kept us busy for a little while. I think there's a photo here. Nope, there isn't. Sorry for the scrolling. The old website was not friendly to screens. So Mackholtz actually deserved its own page. So you can see here we have all kinds of instructional stuff that David Lee and Bill and myself and lots of other people have been doing for this comet. I mean, I even did a reverse image just to see if we could get any detail. It was a big group effort. Bruno got involved even. So you can dive in deep here if you want to. Hyakutake and Hale-Bopp are obviously the stars of the show back in 1997. This was certainly film days, and
wow,
that's a pretty amazing photograph that Sherry has digitized from film, and certainly one of the showiest objects. And we were really hoping that the current comet would get a ion tail as beautiful as this one. And this is Hyakutake, which was a year before Hale-Bopp. We'll just show John's photograph of the same era. So again, this is a scanned photograph. And I think I held up this woodblock painting that I acquired in Belize when I was down there traveling at the time. I really wasn't into photography or astronomy very much at that point, but I did pick up this little bit of artwork that was painted by an artist down in Belize by the name of Lola. And I was down in Belize after the comet had sort of finished its show, you might say. So there are Zenfolio comet collections here. I mean, the current one obviously is NEOWISE in 2012. You can go through the slideshow. I'm not going to do that tonight. We've been through it a few times. The Pan-STARRS in 2013 also has a gallery, so you can go in here and play all these photographs. There's some beautiful ones. Some of them are highlighted, some of them I haven't. People have gone into analysis and, you know, tried to figure out exactly where the gradients are as far as the brightness gradients and that sort of thing, analyzing the head. So, you know, lots of interesting stuff there if you want to get into it. And Holmes, I think, was probably the most spectacular comet that I saw when I was actually doing digital photography and all that sort of stuff. And there's lots of analysis of Holmes on the website. I'm just going to go through the first row here just to give you a taste. If it'll come up. And so there's a few drawings here and digitized drawings, a little bit of analysis. Oops. I'll try and behave myself. It changed, it exploded as we were watching it. So it actually started out smaller and then grew to be this immense size. It was bigger than the moon in the end, in angular size. So we got to watch it over time. And like David Lee and myself, we're all doing analysis on this thing, trying to get some idea of what was happening because it was heading toward us. So there was no tail. So it was a pretty bizarre comet to observe. So you can see it growing and doing all sorts of funky stuff. And David got, this is pretty neat the way he got the head profiled with color profiles. Anyway, you can go through all that. There's a whole collection there on our Zenfolio page, and the link is right there, so you can go and have a look at it. John, did you want to go through your comet list or your comets collection?
I can do that. Before
I'll stop the share.
We ask if anybody else has some comment stories or pictures or anything they want to share.
Yeah,
I've got a little bit I could share.
Okay. Yeah, I'll just finish off then, and then I'll bow out. So the Carpenter and Wesley slide that I profiled at the start of the talk, there's a link there, and there's a gallery online that you can go through. But I think this is a great list of comets that were called the Great Comets in those days, starting with the first one that was observed with a telescope in 1680. So you can do your Wikipedia research on that if you want to. So I'll stop sharing and we'll just freeform from here. Thanks.
John, I just wanted to say I really enjoyed your picture. I don't remember which comet, but with M15, my favorite, and it's up there now. If the sky's dark enough, it should look pretty good. It'd certainly be evident.
Yeah, that was a neat capture. I'll show that in a minute. But I'm just wondering if anybody else has either stories or pictures or sketches of comets that they want to show.
Yeah, I do, John.
Okay, go ahead.
So this takes me back to my film days. Unfortunately, I didn't have enough time to dig through my archives to find the original, but I'll show you this. You see anything?
Yeah.
Yep.
Ooh.
So that's Hale-Bopp. I actually shot that at the site of the now VCO. At that time, the telescope that's up at the visitor center was actually down there. And in fact, you see the edge of the dome actually in this photo. I was actually standing where a lot of you guys stand for taking pictures down at the VCO. I shot this with my Super Polaris mount and a 105mm manual lens. I was hand guiding. It was, I think it was Fuji 800 or something like that. But it was, I think, hand guided for about 8 minutes.
Wow.
So that's kind of unheard of these days.
Beautiful.
Yeah. It's kind of
Yeah,
pixelated, but I have to dig up the original.
And you were guiding on the comet?
Yes, I was guiding on the head of the comet. I had an eyepiece that I was just looking at, and I was just fiddling with the controls, the hand controller actually. But you know, it's slow enough with film that you can get away with doing that.
You did very well because you've got a lot of detail in the, especially in the ion tail.
Yeah, so one thing I will tell you about this, I was cheating a little bit. Even in those days, they had light pollution filters. They didn't call them as such, but I believe I was using the Orion Sky Glow. And in fact, you can actually see a little blip, a reflection of the comet to the right. If you look to the right of the ion jet, you'll see this little bright little patch, like a miniature comet. So that's the reflection in the Sky Glow filter. I just left it in.
I thought you were actually catching two comets going in opposite directions.
Oh, you see, it's
It was not that way.
cute.
I guess I could say that, but I won't. Anyways, thank you.
It's awesome.
Thank you.
Very nice. Anybody else?
I have a picture of a sketch that I did. Now, I'm not sure if I presented this at all to the last Astronomy Cafes, probably not. But I'm sorry about this, but I'm going to have to.
Oh, we can see it.
Oh, good. That is my sketch. I think it was a couple of Sundays ago, about a week and a half ago, that I did out at Machosen Cricket Grounds. And I just did a description of it. What I liked about it, it looked like a stationary searchlight, quite dramatic. And it was just I think it was sketched around 12:30 in the morning. And it had quite a long tail. But what I like about this, and if I could find a way of reversing it, so it's a positive, like this is a negative black and white, but the very dramatic nucleus in there with an amazing tail, and I could look at it for hours. It was really quite a treat.
That's beautiful, Diane.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Unmuted.
Anybody else?
Yeah.
Miles?
Yeah, I'll just tell you my experience with Hale-Bopp, which is, to me, the best comet because of the two tails. I was down at my site in the White Mountains again. I was in March. Dorothy was in Australia, but I stayed home so I could see Hale-Bopp because it wasn't any good in the Southern Hemisphere at that time. So I had 4 nights up there. It was extremely windy, so I didn't set up my 14-inch reflector at all. I just spent 4 nights looking at that comet. I did have my spotting scope so I could look at the nucleus, the coma, in more detail. And so I just spent 4 nights looking at the sky and the comet, mostly without any optical aid. And that's my experience with comets.
They are really beautiful to see when they're bright. Hale-Bopp was quite amazing.
My most fun, Bill here.
Hi, Bill.
Yeah. So my most fun object with a comet was McNaught when we could see it. And it had become naked eye, but it was really close to the horizon. And from Machosen, I could only see the tail sticking up above the hills. And so I was racing around trying to get to behind them. And eventually it was where Walmart is out in Langford. And the road that runs up between it and Lowe's, it was a dead end. And when I got up to there at the top and there was snow everywhere, I could see it over top of the parking lot against the far hills. And there were people tobogganing down the back into what is now like the loading dock area for Walmart and that. So I set up my little refractor there, and I had my binoculars. And every time people came to the top to ride down, I was dragging people over to look through the comet and pointing it out because they had no idea that it was there. And so it was just so much fun just being with all these people that were randomly just getting shown this comet. I managed to get one photo through it, and it's somewhere. I thought it was on Zenfolio, but it isn't actually. I've just got it in my computer. It was in the old historical site. I think I have a picture of it. And then there was a point when we couldn't see it anymore, but well, we could, but it was visible in the south in the daytime. And I took my little refractor with me to work. And on my lunch break, I went out into the courtyard where the old church is at the Jubilee Hospital, in that courtyard, because I knew it was 8 degrees behind the sun, like it was heading towards the sun. So I set up with the sun being blocked by the church and observed it through the telescope around noon on the day when people were reporting from like California and that, being able to see it in the sky in the daytime. And then it left our sky, and then they got that amazing creature that showed up in, you know, the south with that giant tail fanned across the sky and all that. But that was probably my most fun one, because it was chasing around and finding people and showing it to them, and people who had no idea what they
behind a church spire.
So that was my most exciting fun comet, is, you know, seeing a comet in the daytime, even though I did have to use a telescope.
Incredible.
That
What
was
what a venture. Is that the biggest comet we've had in quite a while then? For both hemispheres, Comet McNaught?
Well, I think Hale-Bopp was bigger.
Oh, okay.
But it was that tail.
The tail was
that stretched across the whole field of view of the widest shot that anybody could take. It was like incredible.
Seen it.
I missed that one. We had just come home from Namibia too early. We were at,
that's right.
We were in the Namib Desert.
And I was at a meeting in Cozumel, and every night went out for a walk on the beach to see how this comet advanced across. I don't remember what the meeting was about and what I had to present there, but
Comet was more
the comet has remained.
Hey guys, well maybe I'll show a few. Now I'm
John,
gonna.
could I just fill in with Bill's story, if you don't mind, just for a sec?
Sure.
This is what the I think what Bill was talking about was, this is his report that he posted in 2007 about McNaught, and so you can read that if you want to. The link is on our website, and this is the photograph he took from there. Is that what you're talking about, Bill?
Oh, you can see it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one. Those are like
Okay.
the power lines and the parking lights in the Walmart parking lot. It
Oh,
was-
yeah.
Yeah.
That was the
I haven't
best
been
shot.
able to find your church or your church one yet, but it's probably in here
No,
somewhere.
I don't think I have that in there.
Yeah. Anyway,
Oh.
I
It's
just thought
me.
I'd show you that.
It's me in a parka, face down, pointing standing with. There was a lot of snow. It was like, people find it hard to believe that was Victoria.
Yeah.
You people make me wish I could, Dorothy here, that I could photograph under a street light in the dark skies. I found this morning that I could see the comet from our driveway, but looking through power lines, so that would have done Bill's one better, because the comet was between the power lines.
All I've got is point and shoot cameras. I just hold a point and shoot up to an eyepiece.
Stay with me.
Yeah, but this I didn't have I was just at 1x looking by eye, It's not, I didn't have a telescope.
Hey guys, I'm going to share the screen now, and hopefully this will work.
Ah,
There, can you see?
Oh, yes.
Oh, wow.
And underneath is a cabin that my wife Wendy owned in northern Alberta. And this one's kind of interesting because this is, the green stuff is northern lights.
you get all three then. The tail, the iron tail, and the northern lights. It's beautiful.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
This was taken with a film camera, of course, and it was taken a couple of years before I started logging things, so I don't have a whole lot of information. But I remember the place and the night. It was quite beautiful. And then I knew the astronomer at the U of A, and he took me out to University of Alberta's Devon Observatory, and that's where I got this picture that Joe showed before. I like it because it shows the two tails nicely, but it also shows nice star color. Took me a long time before I could get star color as nice as that with digital cameras. But the film recorded it quite nicely. That was an extrachrome slide, I guess. Anyway, that was kind of fun.
Just before you, can you go back to that one?
Yeah.
What are the 4 little stars that are in a square down in the bottom right quadrant?
Right here.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
I've never seen that.
That's interesting. I don't know.
That's a little square of Pegasus.
Little baby square, little baby flying horse.
Has anybody ever seen that before?
No.
I'm gonna have to look.
It's a pony.
Aw, it's a colt.
Yeah, okay, cool.
This is Comet McNaught from what is it? Moss Park, near where I used to live. And it wasn't even dark, so like Bill, I could see it in daylight. Well, evening light.
Mm.
It was kind of neat.
Mm.
You know, at roughly the time you took that photo, John, I was looking at it from Clover Point.
Yeah.
But I didn't have any cameras back then, so.
Yeah, it would have been
my
nice.
my first comet photo was 2 weeks ago.
It would have been nice from Clover Point. And Comet Holmes, we talked about, that's my picture of it. Everybody got nice pictures of that one. This is Comet Lulin. It was really racing through the stars, as you can see.
That's a question. Have you seen a big range of speed of the comets, or some much slower and some much faster?
Yes, if they're close to Earth, they usually seem to be really speeding by, and that was the case of this one.
And of course, it depends on the trajectory they're on as well, relative to
That's
us.
right.
Yeah, yeah.
You know.
Yeah, this one was going sort of at right angles to us.
Hyakutake was really hauling the mail.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And then here's Comet Lovejoy, one of the Comet Lovejoys from this from 2013. It had a huge tail, really nice. And I think this is the one Dorothy was talking about, or maybe not. No, this is another one. This is a Comet Lovejoy with the Pleiades up above and the Hades cluster to the left. And that's it. That's about half of the comets that I've taken pictures of, but it's enough. So I'll just stop the share. Now, have we missed anybody that wanted to say something about comets?
John, I wanted to say that the moon, it looked like a day-and-a-half moon, a very thin crescent that was almost like a cradle just above the mountains with a comet to the left. That is absolutely gorgeous because you caught a lot of earth shine.
Yes.
Oh, that's a gorgeous little, I don't know if it was a
magical
very old moon or a baby moon.
Well, that one was from down in Arizona, and the sky was incredibly dark. Even down
Okay.
at the horizon, which isn't usual.
Oh, yeah, I wonder if that was the dragoons.
We usually have a lot of muck in the sky when it's down low.
Mhm.
So that's probably why you see it like that.
Yeah, gorgeous.
Okay, well, listen, Lauri has something to announce, and then we'll turn to Reg to wind things up tonight.
Okay. So I'll just see if my screen share is going to work here. I hope. Nope. I want to go back to the Zoom. Just a minute. Let's see if I can do this. Oh dear. Nope.
Lauri, is it the promotion you sent me?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Yeah, I could set it up if you want. And then
Have you got that? Yeah, I thought I had it, but I don't have it. So sorry. If you've got it, that would be great.
Okay, I'm going to share my screen, and then
Yeah.
hopefully I'll find it and then get it back to you. Okay.
Okay.
You see anything yet?
Yep.
See the RASC page.
We see the RASC page, yeah.
I'm having a problem here. I've got some stupid thing in there. Okay, just a sec here. This is an invitation. Is this the one?
That's right. Yeah, this is it. So we are the FDAO, as of course you all know, has kind of closed down because we can't get onto the site, and so we've decided to jump in with both feet and do a virtual Saturday night next Saturday, and from 7 to 8:15. We just want it to be kind of a short beginning. We've invited all of our members, and we're inviting the RASC to join in with us. And so what we are going to do, if you could just go down a little bit, Reg, if you could just pull it down. We've got Dave Balaam is going to talk a little bit about the comet and about some of the other comets he's seen and some of the asteroids he's seen. So he said that he will talk to us for a few minutes. And then a little bit down at the very bottom, it just kind of also says we're going to be just giving a little bit of some info on what's happening with the FDAO and the DAO. And if anybody's been looking up at the site, the sidings are getting on, so it's not green anymore. It's ended up being a little bit orangey yellow, and now they're putting on the camouflage panels, so it's going to be a little bit different. Anyway, we've got some pictures of those. We're going to be talking a little bit about the EXO explorations project that we're doing. We just put out the 5th lesson tonight, both in English and in French. That is on exoplanets. I mean, it's the work that we're doing right now is kind of some of the precursor to that, but that's been an awful lot of work all summer to work on that. And then Aaron Bannister is going to do a little bit of a story for if there's any children that are going to add on to the site. And then David Lee thank you very much, David, has agreed to do a what's up in the summertime for the sky as well. So some of the members will get to just get a little bit of a taste of what they could look at when they're up in the sky. So it's only going to be I'm hoping even just right dead on about an hour to an hour and 15 minutes, and then often we'll see whether this works or not. As I was talking to Reg before, we don't have the webinar capabilities, just like the RASC doesn't have that, like our own center doesn't have the webinar. So it will be in the form of a meeting, but we can have people muted and everything. So if people don't want to be on the screen, then they don't have to be at all. So we're hoping that we'll get a few people on, and then about 3 weeks from now, we're planning on doing an on-site live from the dome Saturday night observing session. So we haven't got it all completely technically figured out because we can't really get into the dome, but that's what we're hoping to do. So we'll have one maybe in the end of August and another one at the end of September that will be live from the dome. So we'll see what we can do with it. Anyway, we're just, as I say, jumping in with 2 feet and seeing whether or not this works. So we hope you can join us for a little while, and then you can get out on when it's darker and go out and do some observing after that. So the Zoom details are on there, and it's on the RASC website as well. So
well done, Lauri.
Well, we hope
you and all the rest of you. It's wonderful.
I'll let you know next Monday.
Thanks, Lauri. That sounds really interesting. Should be good.
Well, we hope so.
Okay, I guess, Reg, you are next.
Oh, okay. Thanks for that, Lauri. I think that's a kind of an exciting venture. I hope it does go well. I haven't placed this on our RASC Astro Cafe web page yet because I wasn't fast enough to put it on. I'm just going to go back to that page and the Astronomy Cafe thing. And first of all, I wanted to thank Joe for putting this, what I would call a comet gateway that exposes all of our great Zenfolio and all of our previous, I guess, web archive devoted to comets. That's going to be a great resource for us. So thanks for that. I wanted to just mention that Dr. Gordon Walker is going to be speaking at the UVic Open House Zoom meeting this at 7:30, and the link for that's there. And his talk is called Falling Through Space, and you might want to check that out. And also Joe has got this week's Sky and week's Sky at a glance. And I was also promoting the Universe on the Line here. But I wanted to just pop over to one thing. Now, I don't know if everybody's getting this. This is called What's Happening. Is everyone getting this thing called What's Happening at the RASC?
Yes.
Good.
No,
I just
no,
wanted
I'm
to.
not.
I'm not.
Who's not?
Randy.
And Joe.
I'm not.
I'm not.
Okay. So what I'm going to have to do is, I guess, put a portion of this or a link to this. Maybe I'll just forward it to everybody on the Sky News so they know what's going on here. But I just wanted to mention we're kind of at comet fever here. On Thursday the 30th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, but 4 p.m. Pacific Time, David Lethy is going to join forces with Jenna and Ella Alendria, and they're going to talk about that. And to register, there's a thing here to click on it. So that is kind of congruent with what's going on. And before I leave comments altogether, I just wanted to mention Bill sent out a great note on, Bill Weir sent out a great note on the RASC Fix site, and he's got a couple of other comments that you can look at, but he cautions that these are fainter fare than what we've had. So be prepared to use all your skills that you've honed following this thing. So that is the end of that, I think. I just got one other thing here while we're on it. I would like to, I'm going to stop share and go to something else. And screen share. And if I can find it, here we are. Last week I had this thing about Comet NEOWISE, and I just wanted to go over that a little bit again because I've added another shot here. This shows the motion. This is from my balcony, and unlike some people, I'm a lazy astronomer, or maybe a pajama astronomer. I can observe from my deck, and that has limitations because this was taken this shot over here was 5 days later, and there's a building in the way. And I just wanted to show, I'll go back here for a second and say, if you look out here, this, I'll show you the dates in a minute, but up here is, this is Mount Tommy. And if I put a Barlow lens on there, I'd probably see David Lee, because David Lee has been living up on Mount Tommy, except for a few brief excursions to Mill Bay. So I think he's known to the police up there now. And this is the two together. One was taken on, this one's June 12th, and this one is on June 19th. And I just want you to note this little edge of a roof here on my balcony, because the next one, this is a shot, that's just the edge of the roof. And this was shot early Sunday morning at 1:40 a.m. To indicate how fast the thing was moving. This shot here was taken at 11 p.m. on the 19th, and this next thing is really humming along. So on the map, I guess the first photos I got from this thing were on about the 8th, and then we've got the 12th photo, the 19th photo. This was the closest approach, and this is where we're at now. And you can see Ursa Major there. I think Dorothy called these the toes or the claws of Ursa Major. So it's pretty much going to leave that area right away. So with that, I'll stop the share and turn it back to you, John. And thanks again for hosting tonight, John. I appreciate that.
Well, thank you too. And also everybody else who participated tonight, because it was, I think it was a fun time.
Here, here.
We had
Thank
quite
you,
a
John.
few.
Thank you all.
Yeah. Okay, so does anybody have anything else they want to talk about tonight?
Just that we have lots of talented people.
Can I just remind that there will not be an Astro Cafe next week due to the long weekend?
All right, thanks for that.
Hi, John. Janine here from Nanaimo. I was just typing in the chat because I looked at my latest What's Up at the RASC weekly email. And in it, it says, you joined this audience by opting in to our weekly live stream event reminders or by signing up for an annual membership with the RASC. So if you're not getting those email newsletters, you might contact RASC as a paid up member to see if you can get on them, because I'm really benefiting from the announcements because they're countrywide. And just a final observation, as somebody that's hasn't been directly involved with the Victoria Centre too much, your collective wisdom and record keeping and journaling and documentation through images, for somebody that's looking at from the outside in, I just want to say it's a staggering kind of achievement. So congratulations to all of you.
Wow, that's kind of nice to hear. Thank you.
Thank you, Janine.
And that's the way I feel too. For somebody who's relatively new, this is year 3 for me, to be able to see photos and have access to photos of past comets. And the history of photo taking within the club, that's just, it's a wonderful overview for me. Thank you.
Great. Okay, well, guys, thanks very much for everything. And I think it's probably time that we close her down for the night.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Good night. Thank you, John.
Thank you, Dave.
Oh.
Thanks, everyone. That's great.